Yes, yes.
In chapter 47, Surah Muhammad, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. هل ينظرون إلى الساعة أن تأتيهم بغتة فقد جاء أشراطها فأنى لهم إذا جاءت ذكراهم. So my question is, what are these signs mentioned in this verse? قد جاء أشراطها.
Yes. According to the Holy Quran, one of those preconditions for Assaah was the splitting of moon. اقتربت الساعة وانشق القمر. So انشقاق القمر is mentioned by the Holy Quran as a shartu Assaah. So that is not the only one. But you can only understand this verse if you understand the meaning of Assaah, not without it. When the Holy Quran says قد اقتربت الساعة وانشق القمر, here Assaah does not mean the day of judgment or the doomsday when everything will be destroyed. How could it mean that when 1400 years have passed and yet Assaah has not come? That in that meaning, while the Holy Quran says اقتربت الساعة وانشق القمر, Shaqq al-Qamar has taken place. Where is the Assaah? So in the light of this, you first understand the meaning of Assaah. Assaah means a great revolution. And what greater revolution could be than the coming of Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Transformation of the entire world is the ultimate Assaah. But to begin with, to transform the peninsula of Arabia into a living thing rather than the dead Arabs who occupied that land, it certainly started teeming with life activity. That is to mean spiritual life. This is Assaah. So, اقتربت الساعة وانشق القمر. The sign of the splitting of moon has indicated that the great spiritual revolution which Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was destined to bring has reached very close. The time for the final victory is nigh. It should be visible to you. So that was one Assaah. Now that is the Assaah which we understand is meant with in the verse which I have quoted, اقتربت الساعة وانشق القمر. So when Hazrat Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam appeared, more signs began to appear with him. First of all, his ascendancy over Medina. Secondly, his victory in Badr. Thirdly, the near defeat at Uhud was turned into a great victory, and the Arab tribes and the Arab invaders from Mecca returned without gaining anything. Then the sign of Azab, then the sign of Hudaybiyah, which somehow completely changed the pace of preaching of Islam, and it turned as an incentive for people to become Muslims. So within a matter of 2 years, the number of Muslim warriors swelled to 10,000 who accompanied Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to Mecca when he entered Mecca with victory. So these are all signs for Assaah which was taking place. So this is the meaning of this verse. Why don't you open your eyes and see that many a sign has appeared which guarantees the ultimate victory of Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam over all other faiths. So in the beginning you have seen the fall of Arab to his feet. This is the first part of the Assaah. The second part of the Assaah is related to the time of the latter days, according to the Quran. This is the first phase of Assaah, whose signs appeared, and Assaah we have seen actually was realized. But there is not only one prophet mentioned in relation to Assaah in the Holy Quran. The first prophet mentioned in relation to Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah is the first prophet mentioned in relation to Assaah is Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah. Iqtarabat as-saatu wa inshaqa al-qamar. The second prophet mentioned is the one who will come in the latter days, which is Isa ibn Maryam, when he has his second advent in the world. وَإِنَّهُ عِلْمٌ لِلسَّاعَةِ. Masih will become a sign for the Assaah, while the first Assaah which appeared at the time of Muhammad Rasulullah, that was fulfilled. So a similar Assaah is to take place in the latter days, when the remaining world will be conquered by Masih ibn Maryam in his spiritual advent in the latter days. So these are the Assaah, and ilm means sign. Like in this verse which we have just recited, read it. Signs have appeared.
فهل ينظرون إلا الساعة أن تأتيهم بغتة.
What other?
Yes. فقد جاء أشراطها.
Ashrat is the sign. وقد جاء أشراطها. All the signs, ashrat, preconditions, prerequisites, have already appeared. So what are they waiting for? Assaah is here. Why don't they recognize? Are they waiting for something to happen suddenly? Like people believe that Assaah will come and destroy everything. So this is a rejection of their misunderstanding of the word Assaah.
فقد
جاء أشراطها. All the conditions of Assaah are there, they have been fulfilled, and still they are awaiting something else. So here ashrat is replaced, the word ashrat is replaced with ilm. وَإِنَّهُ عِلْمٌ لِلسَّاعَةِ. Is it in ilmul la or la ilmun? Masih ibn Maryam, who will come again, he will be the sign for the second Assaah promised to Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah. It has come close. And this is exactly what has already happened. Ashratuha have come already. Hazrat Masih came in fulfillment of the promise of Jesus' return to the world, in fulfillment of his second advent. And with him, the signs have started appearing all over the world. Ahmediyya has already become well established in more than 150 countries of the world, and it is defeating Christianity whenever it comes to confront it, or it comes in clash with the Christian forces. The other day in my question and answers, I told that although the number of Ahmadi missionaries working in Africa is just a few hundred, no more, 200 or 300 in the whole of Africa, and although the Christian missionaries outnumber Ahmadi missionaries by such a large margin that instead of a few hundred missionaries, thousands and thousands of missionaries are working in Africa for the sake of Jesus, a victory of Jesus Christ. So how unevenly balanced are the two forces? Ahmadiyyah is representing Islam, and a few hundred missionaries all together are trying to change the fate of Africa. Confronting them is an army of Christian missionaries. But what is the result? About more than a million, definitely. More than 1 million Africans became Ahmadi Muslims last year, in 1 year. While Christians cannot claim more than a few thousand. So what is this happening? Isn't it ilmul Assaah? Isn't it enough ashrat of Saah which have appeared? So that Messiah who is showing these signs has to be the true Messiah who was promised, because his signs have come. Got it? It took me rather long to answer this small question, but it had to be explained in everything, otherwise people will not get the message, eh? Right? Okay. Please. This verse is unfortunately absolutely misinterpreted by the orthodox mashayikh and mullahs. They try to argue from this that Jesus Christ is still alive in heaven. So they say, innahu ilmul Assaah. Saah is yet to come, according to them. And because they believe that Saah means ultimate destruction of the whole world, so because it has not yet come, so Jesus could not have died, because according to the Quran, he is the sign of nearness of Qiyamah. So they interpret in this Assaah in the ordinary meaning of Al-Qiyamah. And having done that, they think they have got a very positive proof in their hand that Jesus Christ is still alive. Because how could he have died before the Qiyamah, too much before the Qiyamah? Because they say ilmul Assaah means here he would come and there would be the Saah, and the world will be destroyed. This meaning is so stupid and so much against the Quran that I am amazed at the people who try to interpret this from that way. The fact is that, as I have already mentioned, Assaah is declared by the Holy Quran to have come close at the time of Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. 1400 years have passed since. If Saah means the winding up of the human race and destruction of everything, why has it not happened? Ikhtaraba, it's very close. In Shiqaq-e-Qamar they believe, yes, it has split. But where is the promise of Saah then? Iqtarabat Saah. They cannot see. They have eyes but cannot see. Because it is wrong, it is in fact disloyal of any Muslim to interpret Assaah in that sense, because then the Quran will be proved wrong. Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will be proved wrong. Iqtarabat Saah, and where is that Saah? But if you see with the eyes of Ahmadi Muslims, then you see the Saah having appeared in the first advent of Islam and in the first few hundred years. The conquest by Islam of the half the world was the Assaah which was promised. It began to happen during the lifetime of Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, before his demise, entire Arabia was conquered by Islam, not by sword. And this was the Assaah, or the first phase of Assaah, which was fulfilled. So it is the same type of Assaah which is promised in the latter days. It does not relate to Jesus Christ and his victories. It relates to the victory of Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Jesus born in his ummah. Otherwise, his victories will not be the victory of Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is a very important point which we should understand. If the old Jesus comes back, if he conquers anything for the sake of Islam, it will still be his victory. The people who will become Muslims at his hands will follow him, and it will be his personal victory. But if anyone who belongs to Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and is his servant, his victory will be the victory of Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because his servant's achievements belong to the masters. This is what they fail to understand, and which this verse clarifies. First of all, as far as the old Jesus is concerned, just 2 verses before, his matter is rounded up and finished, wound up and finished. Because the Holy Quran says, "In huwa illa abdun an'amna alayhi wa ja'alnahu mathalan li bani Israel." That Jesus, who happened to be a few 600 or more years before this verse was revealed, the Holy Quran says, you're talking of that Jesus? He's finished. He was only a human being, and he was masalan only li Bani Israel. Masalan means uswa. He was a model only for Bani Israel, not for Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that Jesus cannot come, because just 2 verses before, his fate is sealed. If he comes and says, I am masal for you, this will be the verse. What do you mean? Have you cancelled this verse of the Quran? It says you are merely a human, and you were only made as a masal for Bani Israel. Then they will quote another verse, Rasulan ila Bani Israel. So what right have you got to come? What right have you got to come to the Ummah of Islam? What business have you to discharge here? If he descends, he will be sent back to return and descend in Israel rather than in a Muslim country. Because they are Bani Israel, he should go there and become an ilm for them. So Masala li Bani Israel completely seals the fate of Jesus coming again himself in person. Here, the Ilmul Assaah is for a Jesus who is born in the Ummah, and his victory will be the victory of Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Those who will follow him will not follow a Jesus of Israel, but a Jesus of Muhammad Rasulullah. This is exactly how this verse ends. Now read it and you will be amazed. وَإِنَّهُ لَعِلْمٌ لِلسَّاعَةِ فَلَا تَمْتُرُنَّ بِهَا. His appearance will be a sure sign that the great victory of Islam promised is about to happen, and have no doubts about it. And then, وَاتَّبِعُونِي, Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying, not وَاتَّبِعُوهُ, because this Jesus is my Jesus. When you follow him, you follow me. So So have no doubts about this great victory. Believe that this Saah, destined for Islam, will most certainly take place. وَاتَّبِعُونِي, and follow me. هَذَا صِرَاطٌ مُسْتَقِيمٌ. Not the Sirat of Injil, but the Sirat of Hazrat Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Could it be clearer than this? But they don't see. The blind do not. Please.